Hello, and thank you for joining us today. This is John, and Charles is here with me with John and Charles, charlesandjohn.com. This is our first live broadcast, so excuse us if we're a little bit trying to get everything still settled and having some technical things to work out. But we are here and live, and we do have some things to show you today, and we wanted to go over a few things. One of which is a trip to a local thrift shop that we had wanted to share with you. We didn't have time to do a video, and that's because we have some news to share with you as well about our channel and what's been going on in our lives lately. If you've been subscribed, you know we haven't posted in a while, and we're going to tell you about that in a second. So we also have some pieces that we wanted to show you today. So you're going to see some items like this and some other pieces. Also, some of you had asked for some table settings and some things like that, things that we have done inside of our house to show you how we've actually taken these pieces like this and used them for other purposes. So that's also coming up to show you how we've actually placed the items in our house. But first, I think one of the things that we wanted to do, and probably the biggest part of this, is to tell you what's going on with our channel and with us. We've got some news, and the news that we wanted to share with you is that Charles and I have been approved to adopt. We've been working on that for, almost a year now?
No, 10 months.
It's been 10 months. And finally got the approval. So now that that process is starting, we are going to, of course, have less time to spend with the channel and making things. This process is kind of on again, off again, how it works. You do a lot of work, and then you're really busy, and then all of a sudden you don't hear anything for weeks and weeks, and then it comes back, and you do the next step, and so on. And you work with attorneys and whatever, and so it's a very long process, but we're in that process right now, and so that is going to dictate kind of how we're able to put these shows out. So as we can, we'll still be doing these shows. We'll still be doing our shows like this. We may add some new content in as well. Some of you had said you wanted to see us do some more recipes, and with Charles being an artist, maybe some of that on here as well. More pieces about how to tell what you're looking at and what different things are. We may go into that sort of thing as well. So if you are interested in that, please stay and subscribe. But you'll probably see us posting less often, and it's not because we don't care. It's just because we've got this great new thing happening in our lives, and it's very busy, and we're looking forward to it. But it's going to require us to pull back a little bit from this channel. So I think the next thing that we should get to is the video that we've been saving. This is the one that we weren't able to get with you on and get a full edited video, but we do have the actual video set. Now, this was a place that Charles went to. What was this place? This was the Green the Green Door. Was that what this is called?
Yes.
And this was a charity, actually, and it's located in San Antonio. So we're very excited about this, and you actually did find some things there too. So we'll see that as well in the video. We'll see the items that we picked up. Jerry Robin, thank you so much. We really do appreciate it. Thank you for being on with us. I know this is our first live video, so we haven't really had a chance to have people on with us, but we're so glad to have you here. So let's take a look at this video now. We're going to go ahead and run that, and let's take a look. Okay, so this is outside of the building. This is in San Antonio. So the Green Door, they sell clothes, housewares, small furniture, but what they are is a grant-giving charity. And as you can see, this is a list. They've been doing this for 70 years. And on that list, they had some really great charities. It wasn't just charities, and it wasn't just Christian items. It was also things like Performing Arts Society. So well worth the visit out there. So what are we seeing here?
So we see a lot of different pressed glass. A few pieces that I found were cut crystal. This particular set I actually kind of wish I picked up, but I unfortunately did not. I think we have enough glasses.
Yeah, these are so, but really interesting how they have a lot of really high quality stuff there. And considering that every penny of profit they make goes to these charities that apply, and then they're awarded based on need. And so these different organizations get a piece of the profits. They keep none of it. So it's really a great place to give back to and to shop at, because they have some really great pieces.
I did enjoy going through here. The ladies were very good at curating everything in here. The ladies said that they spend the majority of their time going through every set, making sure that they're not chipped or broken. They make sure that they clean them well. So they're beautiful pieces. And this box here is actually a marble box.
So is it made? It was made of marble. Is it for marbles? What is that?
It's made of marble.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So that's great. And then what are we seeing here? We got just different place settings and
jugs, jars. This whole shelf ran the entire right side of the store.
Look at all the little birds. And these were all like little ceramic or porcelain birds here?
Yes.
How neat. So if you were a collector of birds, look at that. And then the prices here, very reasonable.
Yeah, I liked that little bird. He was cute.
He is cute.
There was one particular bird that I found. He should be coming up here soon. There he is. So I have this little bird, but he is in a slightly different position. And the bad part is he actually had been broken and the person glued it back together. So unfortunately, I left it behind.
So you're talking about the little bird with the black head here?
Yes, I'll be picking him up here in just a second.
Okay, so we'll keep rolling here. And look at, oh, there you are. You just picked him up. Now that is cute. So you said you had one like this.
Yeah, he's made in West Germany, and I cannot remember what the name of that bird is.
Well, look at that bandage on your hand. Boy, you are always having something going on with you.
I am. It's either me cutting the tip of my fingernail off, or this last time I got cut really bad by a cat scratching me.
Seems like every video we make, you've got some sort of bandage on your hand. And wow, look at this. So what is that we're looking at there?
Oh, that's carnival glass.
That is very pretty.
That's a modern version of carnival glass.
So that wasn't one from the era when it was actually made?
No.
No.
That is a newer piece.
Yeah.
And I think this was a centennial. Yes, United States, America, centennial in 1976, I believe.
Oh, year I was born. I was a centennial baby. So that's interesting.
And these were actually really cute. I was surprised they only had just the jugs instead of the sugar bowls with them.
Very pretty. And then see some more. It was like porcelain items and glass items there, and then a whole bunch of glassware here.
Yeah, I actually was surprised at the full sets that they had. Like this set here was beautiful, and
that is very pretty. And I think, let me see that it's got almost a design in there, right?
Yeah, it's etched flowers and vines.
That's very pretty. And so this was one. Did you pick this up, or was this one that we left behind?
I did not actually. I think I'm going to go back and see if they still have that set.
I know. There's only so many pieces you can get before you start to run out of space to put them too. So there's that.
I was thinking of buying them and using them as sherbet glasses. I think that's what they are, actually. This piece I did pick up.
This is nice. And this is a pie plate?
Yes. I paid how much was it? I think it was $9.99, I think.
Nice. It looks really nice too. And here, so they have the tables and chairs for sale, and then the place settings too, right? And so, and then
Yes.
you see this musical instrument in the background. This looks like a large place. Is this large?
It actually isn't as large as I thought it was going to be, but it's just they did so good with the spacing.
It is. It looks huge, and everything is laid out. You know, you go to a lot of thrift shops, and it's just stuff thrown on top of each other, and you kind of have to dig. Some people like that, but I like when it's curated a little bit more, and you get to see the really nice pieces, the really nice stuff that came in, and you get to choose from that. You know, but some people love to go in and dig and see what they can find under the rubble, so to speak. Some nice art pieces here.
I was actually surprised at the art pieces that they had. Like the one you saw previously was actually a old quilt that this lady had decided to turn into an art piece. Now was a surprise for me. So this is Hawks, and it is signed. I did get it. I couldn't find the exact same piece, but it was extremely heavy, and from what it said online, it was about $250.
Wow. Wow, so great deal there. And what we're seeing here, and I wanted to pause it here, this is a huge room of books, right? It was a huge area of books.
It was a large area of books, and they actually did have them separated according to what they were.
The subject. So yeah, that's really nice. And you know, a lot of people, I know they've got Kindles. I own a Kindle, but there is just something about physically holding a book in your hand and reading it. And the portability, you know, you don't have to plug it in, you know, it's always available. There's just something about that. And you know, when you see these books hardcover, $2 a piece, I mean, come on, you can stock up, and you have plenty of reading to last you for a long time. And then when you're done, you can give it to a library, or you can give it to a friend, or you can give it back and let somebody else value it as well. So that's really neat. I love when they have these kind of areas in here, because not everybody is into your figurines and porcelain and crystal and antique items. You know, some people are into other stuff. So here's what you actually brought home, right? This is what we brought home here, and so there's 4 pieces there. So there's that bowl we saw, right? We saw this bowl?
Yes, that's the Hawks signed bowl. I actually did not even realize it was signed until I got it home, because the ladies had the price tag on top of the signature.
It's actually signed, so that makes it even more valuable. And it is really pretty. You can see under the lights where you shot this, and it's just very refractive. You can see it's very clear. Now you can see it's worn too. You can see there's some little scratching and stuff in there, but that comes with, you know, it's normal wear and tear. It doesn't take away from the beauty of this piece, though. It just shines in the cabinet under these lights.
Yeah, and it's so heavy that I'm so scared to even put it in our china cabinet, because I'm scared it may cause the glass shelf to collapse. So I'm just gonna put it somewhere else for display.
Wow, that's very pretty. And then this is a cake plate.
Yes, it is. That is an actual cut crystal cake plate. It was the only crystal one that I've found so far.
Wow, and that also just absolutely looks beautiful. And there are a lot of uses for cake plates besides cakes. You don't just have to use them for cakes.
You can easily buy smaller sizes. You can stack them to make a pyramid, and you can actually put cupcakes on them. You could actually make a hot cocoa bar during Christmas. You can put different stuff on different
what an idea.
cake plates.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was even thinking, like, you could make a display out of like some fake fruit and stuff for times when you're not using it. And this is that pie plate you talked about.
Yes, I looked it up. I could not find this particular one. Apparently, the company who made this does a lot of the Ray Dunn, and that's all I could find. In this particular company, they have one that the edges is not so deep, and the only one I could find said Gather.
Ah.
And this is a milk glass vase that I found. Luckily, I already had a few that I just got from my great-grandmother's house. So now this one makes a set of 4 that we have.
Oh, wow. And this is a vase for floral arrangements or something like that, yeah. Very nice piece, and it's in really good condition too.
Yeah, there's no scratches. I didn't see any chips, nothing. So whoever had this took very good care of it.
Right. Well, that is quite a great haul and a great place to go. The Green Door Thrift Shop. That is now the address is in the description as always. So if you want to check it out, it's there for you. We've got so much more to show you. We've got some pieces that we want to show, some individual pieces that we want to show you, and some tablescapes. So let's take a quick break, and we will be back right after this. Stay with us because we've got a lot more to come. So thanks for watching, and we'll be right back right after this. Hey there, John here. If you haven't checked out our main channel yet, you don't know what you're missing. We focus on antiques, thrifting, travel, decor, and more. Here's a short clip from one of our most recent episodes.
It's a 13.5-inch flint glass compote with a Greek column pedestal base. I thought it was absolutely beautiful. It is mid to late 19th century. I paid $60 for it. I got home and looked it up, and it was $650 if I wanted to replace that piece. Checked every inch of it. There's no chips. There's no scratches. It is in perfect condition, and I only paid $45 for it. And I did look this one up. I couldn't find the name of the person who did it, but
Now, if you like that, you'll love our channel. Just head over to @JohnandCharles or visit our website at charlesandjohn.com. If you're into dark and scary content, including creepy horror stories, check out our brand new channel, Wide Awake Nightmares. Here's a sample from our first terrifying episode. The front door to my house suddenly slammed closed forcefully. I sat upright in bed listening. The deadbolt re-engaged. Had the intruder just left? Or had he locked himself in my house with me? I thought of calling out, but then thought better of it. If someone was in the house, I needed the element of surprise on my side. Quietly, I slid open the bedside table and felt for a smallish metal box. Silently retrieving it in the darkness of my bedroom, I clicked in the combination as quickly as I could and retrieved the weapon I kept locked inside. My phone vibrated as it lit up on my nightstand. I noticed that the small safe had been unlocked. I left the phone where it's... For more like this, visit @MyWideAwakeNightmares on YouTube. See you there. And we're back. Thank you for sticking with us in this next part of our program. So this bolt that's been on the screen this whole time, we're going to be talking about this and a few other pieces. One of the comments that we had gotten a while back, and it was actually kind of nasty, was that we don't know the difference between pressed glass and cut glass and crystal and so on. But we'll be telling you about that. But we'll also be showing you these pieces. So what is this that we have here?
this is a crystal bowl. It is in the, I think, a daisy cut. I could not find who actually made the piece, but I did get it from Goodwill. It is not scratched. Whoever had it actually took very good care of the piece. But you can see that this is actually cut crystal.
And how can we see that?
So you usually can tell, one, because it has the, whenever they have the lead in it, and it has the
prism?
Thank you, prism. They usually have a good prism to them. Also, I mean, you can usually tell whenever they're cut, the edges are more sharp, but they do, half of the time they usually will smooth them down.
Can you get it closer to the camera? Maybe show what you're talking about there, because let's see. Yeah, so you got these like sharper edges here. That's one thing I have noticed. It's got not maybe under these lights, but if you had it under other light, you would definitely see more of that. You'd see that prism effect happen, and you see that more with crystal than you do with pressed glass, right?
Yes.
So very pretty bowl. Do you remember what you paid for this?
I paid $6 for it. I did look it up. I did find one close to it, and it was $112 online.
Wow. So, yeah.
And it's very large.
It is. And so what would you do with something like this?
I would use it as a fruit bowl, or if I am decorating for my dining room table with the centerpiece, I do have another pedestal bowl that actually would go well with this. And what you could do is you could turn it over, and you could put your pedestal bowl on the bottom of this, so it actually heightened the centerpiece.
Nice. So that would look really good. So that's one piece, and I like that one. What else do you have for us?
Okay, so we will talk about pressed glass. So this one's pressed glass, made by Anchor and Hawking, and it's a little sugar bowl. Well, obviously, it's got sugar in it. So you can usually tell whenever it's pressed glass because you can tell by the mold. Also, they will have a seam. If I can actually turn it enough that you can see it, there's a seam right here.
So that's kind of a giveaway on pressed glass, is that you're going to find an obvious seam.
Yes, you're going to have an obvious seam. Also, the glass is not so clear.
Oh, I can see the seam now that you brought it closer to the camera.
Yeah, you can see the seam also. I mean, it's not perfectly polished.
Right. It doesn't have that refractive prism quality that you see with even from here I can see it. I mean, on screen it looks nice, but even here I can see it's much more dull than the crystal piece was. And it's smoother too. The cut lines aren't as sharp.
No, they're not as sharp.
It's something I've heard also is with some of these pressed glass manufacturers were very good at trying to hide the seams. So you have to really look closely with some of the pieces.
Yes, some of them you do have to pay very close attention to, because they actually were very good at taking and grinding down the seams while it was still warm, or actually like pushing on it and flatten the seams out so you really don't notice them.
Right.
And actually you can see a seam right at the handle here.
Oh, look at that. You certainly can. So that's a dead giveaway. If you see that, you're not dealing with crystal, you're dealing with pressed glass.
Yes.
And the thing is that the value doesn't necessarily decline. Some pieces of pressed glass can be worth more than certain pieces of crystal. Right?
Yes, it depends on the design. It depends on who made it, and how desirable that particular piece is. I mean, this piece is not very, people like it, but it's not hugely desirable. It's just one of those things that if you grew up with that piece, like your grandmother or great-grandmother had it, and maybe some other family member inherited that piece, usually people will end up looking for them online just to have that I guess, memory and nostalgia of their grandmother having the piece.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what's next up? I see. Is this a toothpick holder?
Yes. Usually this particular piece is pressed glass, but this one actually is crystal, and we have a set of 2 of them. And the pattern is called strawberries.
And that is very pretty. And again, you can see, even when you're turning it, you can see that refractive prism look that you get with crystal that you're not going to get with pressed glass, right?
Yes. And I did find this particular piece in a store that was pressed glass, and I tell you, there was a huge difference in how it looked.
And the inside of it is for holding, well, I guess toothpicks, but you could do other things with it as well, I suppose.
You could do other things with it, but Particularly these were actually designed for toothpicks.
This is very nice. That is and it's very pretty, like that cut around the side. It just gives it, those facets make it shine no matter where it's sitting.
Yeah, it was one of the pieces that I fell in love with.
Yeah, really nice. So you know what? One thing I wanted to mention is if you have something, pieces that maybe one of our other shows you'd like us to show, or that's really special, go ahead and email us. That's at afterhours@charlesandjohn.com, and we'll be happy to feature it on the show. We love seeing what you've got and what you were able to haul from different places, and that's great. Yes, thank you. Yes, the toothpick holder is very pretty. That's it's one of my favorites out of the set that we have here today. So what's next up?
So this is actually one of the pieces that I got from my great-grandmother's house. It is milk glass. And yet again, you can see it has a seam on it.
Yep, there it is.
And it's actually funny. Apparently, people have been breaking into my great-grandmother's house because it's just left abandoned. And I actually found this vase with 3 other ones in a box by the door. Apparently, someone was preparing to come back and get it.
And that's because she passed away a couple of years ago.
Yes, she passed away back in 2004. She was 97.
Oh wow! So, and nobody has gone through all of her stuff yet, and unfortunately, that leaves it ripe for people to come and steal because nobody's living there.
No.
So you were lucky to get this. So she wouldn't have paid. Would she have paid very much for these when she?
Oh, she would have maybe paid 25 cents for it. I did look this particular vase up, and I found about 4 of them online, and they're about $65 now.
Wow. Yeah, so it's amazing what the older generations may have for you passed down. And you know, there's a lot of kids out there when somebody passes or a grandma, they say, oh, I don't want any of that old stuff. But that old stuff could be worth a lot. Plus, there's a lot of sentimental value with some of this. You know, you remember pieces that your grandmother had or your mother or something. And even if they're not worth a lot, you know,
Right.
they may have sentimental value.
I do particularly remember this vase. She would always go out into the backyard where she had about 7 rose bushes, and she would always put a rose in it and put it in her kitchen window.
That is very nice.
So I'm glad that I actually got it before they come back and took it.
Great. All right, what do we have next?
Next we have...
Oh, this is pretty. This is a cake plate. This isn't the one we just saw, though.
No, that's not the one we just saw. This is a pressed glass cake plate.
Yeah, and now that you pointed it out, I can see very easily the seam in this one running through it.
Yes, and you can see, if you look at these pieces, these sections here, so this one here is sharper, and if you follow it, you can see where it goes all the way up the plate.
Wow. But this is still a very pretty piece. They did a lot to try to make it look like cut crystal or cut glass.
They did. Like, I don't know if it will.
There it goes.
There we
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
So this seam runs all the way through the whole plate.
Yes. And when you look at the top, the impressions here from the cut, which the cuts are actually on the bottom, or the press is actually on the bottom. This all here is smooth, but this on the bottom is where the actual the mold happened. But it's very intricate, so it's like they tried to make it look as much like cut crystal as they could. So it's still very pretty. And is this one that you had something sitting on?
Actually, yes. The video that we did with the bundt cake, this is the one that I used.
Oh, yes. Okay. So, yes, we have a video in our history. If you go to charlesandjohn.com, you'll find it. We did a lemon glazed bundt cake. It's actually amazing. Everybody that has tasted that cake has always said, can we have the recipe for it? And you can have it because it's online, the recipe as well as the video.
Yeah, I actually had brought, just made one last week, and I brought some to one of the ladies at the gas station by our house, because that's where we go to often, and she begged me to bring her back the recipe.
Oh. AGO Modern says, I've been to that shop before.
Which shop?
Was
Green Door?
Was that the Green Door shop? That was, yeah, that's a great shop. Unfortunately, I didn't get to go that day. I was working, but you got to go and check it out. But it looked really, really neat.
So the next piece we have is, it's a little serving bowl, and it is cut crystal. And this is the American Brilliant. I have 3 of them, and I picked it up at Goodwill.
And this is cut crystal. And
yes.
Again, you could see these. You were talking about the sharp edges.
The sawtooths?
Yes. Okay. Okay. Glad you could hear us. I was checking on that just now to make sure that you could hear, because I said, oh, everything, I can see the meters moving on my end, so I'm wondering what's going on. Glad you can hear us. But yeah, so when you see these sharper things, that has to be cut, right? That's not something that gets pressed when it's got those sharp edges to it.
Right.
Can you show that on the camera? Get a little bit closer with it. Show just how sharp those are. Those are nice sharp edges there that you can feel it with your finger. And that's one thing I've seen in videos is when other people are talking about this, is running your finger along it when you're shopping for it, you can instantly feel the difference between pressed glass, which is extremely smooth, even when they try to make it look like cut crystal, and then this, which you can just feel the roughness of the cut.
Especially the bottom, because these are they're cut from the bottom, so you can actually use the inside of it and it's smooth. But if you feel them, they are very, very sharp.
Let me see this. So this is, yeah, oh, and the pattern, so small too. You can feel it. And somebody had to sit there and individually cut that pattern into there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially these small cuts. These usually take them, those small cuts take a very long time to do.
I can imagine. That is a very bright. Again, I can just see as you're turning it, you get that prismatic, refractive color that you don't get with pressed glass.
Right.
And so what is this typically used for here?
A lot of people would use these for candies, use them for nuts. I would probably use these for maybe a dipping sauce or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very pretty. Jerry Robin says he's found some similar bowls at Home Goods by Bohemia. How much did you pay for the cut crystal bowl?
This one?
Yes.
I paid $2.99 for them at Goodwill.
Wow. And certainly, AGO Modern saying it definitely won't be cut glass at Home Goods.
No.
No. So for $2.99, and that's why we tend to prefer to go first to the shops and see what we can find in the thrift stores and stuff, because often you can find things way below what you're going to be charged at those at Home Goods and places like that, and you get higher quality materials.
Right. Also, you can easily find Waterford. I have found a couple of Waterford pieces at Goodwill. Now, one I did miss last month, and I didn't tell you about it. It was this huge Waterford bowl with a lid, and it was a big piece. And this lady beat me to it. She turned it over and saw that it had a vintage Waterford acid mark on it, and she brought it home, and they had it for $10.
Wow.
And it was a large bowl.
And AGO Monitor is saying, isn't Home Goods new retail? Yes, it is. If I misspoke, I'm sorry. Home Goods definitely is new retail. That's what you're going to
Yes.
find there. And so we tend to go to thrift stores and to the Goodwills and stuff like that first to look for items in a particular. Sometimes though, you just can't find exactly what you're looking, because when you go to a thrift store or a Goodwill or even an antique store, you may not find exactly what you're looking for.
No, but if you keep coming back, you usually will end up finding something you
And
want.
sometimes it's just, you have no choice. You go to a Home Goods and they have such a huge selection of things to choose from. So you'll find pretty much, what to fit in the decor, but it's not going to be, an antique piece. Or it's certainly, sometimes you will see at Home Goods, you'll see Waterford and stuff like that there. But those are going to be closer to that. Now, they won't be retail price, but they're going to be closer to the retail price than what you're going to find at a shop, right?
Jerry, what type of piece did you get for $10?
I believe you said it was a similar bowl to the one you were just showing.
Oh, okay. That's still not a bad price for $10. A Bohemian crystal can easily go up pretty high. I did see a platter that was about the size of the cake stand that I had up, and this guy had that, and it was just a platter for $250 is what he was selling that platter for, and it was just a platter. So no, $10 is not bad at all.
A tiny bowl.
Tiny bowl.
Yeah. So what's this piece here?
This is a butter dish.
Is it really? I would not have suspected, because normally butter dishes are normally like rectangular, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. This is a pressed glass, and this actually, I did not get this at Goodwill. Actually, this is my grandmother's. But this is a good example of pressed glass. You can see the seam by the neck.
Oh, look at that! You sure can.
And also, I mean, the edges of it they're just not cut that sharp, so you can tell it was from a mold.
Yes, you can see that. And so that's it's still very pretty. I mean, but you can, even when you feel this, you can feel that sharpness isn't there. They tried, but
Yeah,
you don't.
they did
But you don't
try
feel it.
on it.
But you don't feel it. And so, how would butter? I know I'm harping on, how would butter fit in this? Because normally I'm thinking of rectangular sticks, and you've got kind of a roundish bowl here.
That's because whenever they used this butter, it was room temperature, and they would put it in a mold that was round, so it was like a tall piece of butter.
I see. So that would be how you would have butter. And that would stay out. That wasn't something you refrigerated, right? Because back then you made the butter and you'd stay out.
It would go in a cooler that was made out of wood, and they'd have like a block of ice in the bottom, so it wouldn't keep it like really cold, but it would keep it pretty cool enough that it would not go bad.
Nice. Really nice.
But you can see the rim where the butter...
Right, yeah, I see that. And then it fits right on top of there. That's very elegant, though. You just put that on your table, and it immediately just makes your table look more elegant. Jerry Robbins said the tiny bowl is being used on a bar, using it for lemons and limes. That's a great use for it. In fact, we should probably, because we also have a bar in our house, and I didn't think about that. Maybe we should do a tablescape using some of these crystal pieces and set it up and show it how that would look, because we don't use any of our crystal usually on the bar. I mean, we have some pieces sitting behind the bar.
No, the only thing that we have is crystal decanters, but those are usually downstairs.
Right, yeah, so that might be interesting to see what it would look like to set it up, as if you were having people over and using it for lemons and limes. Because I think that would be very pretty to have some lemons and limes sitting in a bowl like that.
Right.
It just elevates everything.
And the last piece that I'm going to show is that vase that I got from Goodwill. Well, no, I got it from the
Green Door. Yes, yes. And that was the last piece that we saw on the video.
Yes. And this one is, there's some sort of mark, but whenever they press this, you can't make it out. It's so badly done. But you can probably kind of see.
There is a mark. We just don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's just so badly done that you can't make out what it is. But there is a mark right there. Also, I think there's a 16 stamped into it. Yes. There's 16 stamped into it as well. But you can see, I mean, again, this is just pressed milk glass. But it is a beautiful piece.
It's still very pretty, and I think that's the important thing is, you know, it's not about how much it's worth, it's about what's it going to look like in your house and how does it fit into your decor, because sometimes it's not about the value, it's about, you know, how it looks when other people, when you put it out with all your other pieces.
Right.
So, and this is is this called a bud vase or?
Yes. You usually would just put one single rose in it. Like if you were going to make someone breakfast in bed, you would use one of these vases to put on the tray.
Yeah.
On the corner and just
have
one
I've seen
single
that. I've
rose
seen that.
in it.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great idea. So having little pieces like this, especially when you have guests over or something, because we have a couple of guest bedrooms.
Right.
You have something like that, it just adds a touch, and they get, you know, all excited about it. You know, and you know they don't have to know you paid just a couple of dollars for it, but it elevates everything that you have.
It does, and I actually remember my grandmother had a lot of these that were actually clear glass, and I remember a couple of times on my grandparents' anniversary, my grandfather would get up very early in the morning and way before my grandmother had a chance to get up, and he actually would make her breakfast in bed on their anniversary.
Nice. That's really nice.
So getting this piece, because it looks almost identical to the clear vase that they had, and I can't find it. It's just a good memory.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And okay, so that's the last piece there, which is great. I think our lighting doesn't like us anymore. I think one of our lights just went out on us. This is what happens when you do your first ever streaming video.
Of course it would happen to us when we're doing a live stream.
Yeah, our first ever stream, and one of our lights goes out on us. Of course, they're battery operated, and so it probably helps to charge them up before you start. But anyway, we're coming close to the last thing that we wanted to show. And what we had been asked in the comments before is, could you show us a tablescape or something that you've done with these pieces? We see all these pieces, but what do you actually do with them? Well, we took a little video before the show, and we wanted to show you and go through that with you. So here's that video. We can go ahead and start that here. And so tell us what we're seeing here.
So this is the majority of pieces that I've picked up, like the compote here.
That you put these fake lemons in.
No, those are real lemons.
Those are real lemons. Oh.
Yes. So that is Ellie Smith, Moon and Stars compote.
It's very pretty, very pretty. And then over here, we've got some, what looks like a few pieces here, right?
Yes. So there's the little bowl that I showed earlier.
Right.
Underneath it is one of the crystal trays that I bought the other day, and a crystal candy dish.
Wow. And that's really neat how that all comes together. You just kind of stack elements like that. What are we seeing here with this what looks like a large flower?
That's just a little clear glass vase with some artificial flowers, and they have the fake where it looks like water in the bottom.
The acrylic at the bottom, that poured acrylic. And that, you know, not expensive. This is a little inexpensive.
Yes,
doodad.
yeah. Actually, you could find that at Home Goods.
Yeah.
I found this piece, and also they do have some that look like cut crystal vases that has those in there. So you could easily add that into your older pieces if you wanted to do a display like on your sidebar like this one.
Right. So that's what I really like this is when you combine these elements. So you might pick up something that isn't by itself isn't worth it's not very expensive is what I'm saying.
Right.
And but you combine it with these other pieces and it makes the entire thing look like you spent a fortune on it. It looks so elegant. And then you've got this cake plate here.
Yes, which is also the Ellie Smith Moon and Stars.
And then on top of there is not a real cake.
No,
okay,
that is not a real cake. So yeah, you see where you could easily take different pieces, and of course, if you look at it from farther back, you'll see there's different heights. So you've got different levels of height there, so it makes a very good display.
Yeah. So this is the entire table here with the painting in the background and the giant candelabras there, and those are actually family heirlooms, right?
Yes, those are family heirlooms that's been in my family for hundreds of years.
Yes. So adding that, and then like you said, the different heights all make it look like it was meant to be there.
Right.
And even though you got the Bath and Body Works candles sitting in there just for a little pop of color, and it really does add quite a bit to the entire scene. So that's kind of an example of what we do when we use these pieces. And of course, a lot of them are stored, right? We have a large storage room where
we do store quite a bit of the pieces that we have because we just don't have any room for them anymore.
Right. And so, but as the seasons change and as we go into different, then some pieces get stored, other pieces come out, and it makes for a very interesting. People come in and they're like, "Oh, it looks so great," and it looks like you're always buying new pieces, and you really aren't. You're just changing out ones that you already have, and just changing what you've done with them. And I think that's what's really neat. And in fact, I think that a video that would be great if people are interested was to actually show our storage room, because that in itself was quite a project. We had you had everything in boxes and shoved everywhere, and we actually created a whole storage room from scratch. We bought the shelving, we had it put in. We've got everything in this one place. And the storage room, actually, we've made it so that it's got a camera in it so we can keep a watch over it in case somebody goes in. It's also got a fingerprint sensor on the door so that nobody can get in but us, because there are some more expensive pieces in there. So I think that would be a great video to show how we built that. And everything came from Amazon pretty much.
Yes.
And we got the clear boxes, totes to put things in, and got the labels and bought the full sheet labels to label everything with. So when you go in, you can see what's in the tote, but then you've also got a label that tells you what's in there so that it's easy for us to pull out certain seasons or certain things and then decorate with those items.
Right.
Yeah. And AGO Modern says, I'd love to start picking up lead crystal from the 80s, but just never see the right ones at thrift stores.
That's one of those things you may want to travel if you've got a different little cities or towns near you that have thrift shops. Hit them up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something that whenever we travel, doesn't matter where we go either. When we go out of town, we always try to find a thrift shop or at least a couple of antique stores to hit, because you just never know what you're going to find. And,
yes, you never know.
And I tend to find that certain areas, or especially like if you stay in a certain city, you tend to find the same items over and over again, or the same types of items. If you go out of the state, or you go out even within Texas, being when we went out to Round Top, what we saw there was so much different than what we see here. And then I'm originally from Louisiana, New Orleans area, so what you see there is different. So that's one of those things where it just really helps to get out and shop. So if you just happen to be out someplace else, which is what we do, we just make it a point to hit up a thrift store or two, and bring an empty suitcase with you, because if you're flying, bring an empty carry-on with you, and that way you can pack your treasures and take them back with you without having to worry about shipping them or getting them broken. And Jerry Robbins says, I'd love to see your storage room. So yeah, we'll definitely do that. I think it would be great to show the storage room and how we put it together. And hopefully you have some pictures of what the old room looked like before.
I do. I have to find them.
Okay, so we'll show what a mess that was. It was, I didn't even want to go in there. It was just like a nightmare. It was like something out of a horror film.
I always referred to it as organized chaos.
Yes, but now it's actually organized items. So
yes,
that's great.
Curated pretty well
Yeah.
for the time that I spent doing it within, what was it, 2 weeks?
Yeah. It didn't take long. It's just you got to buckle down and do it. But once it's organized, and then plus you also you collect Hallmark keepsake ornaments too. So that all had to go into the storage room as well. Which we haven't even gone into that yet, the Hallmark keepsake, and we're getting to the point where I guess they're getting ready to start their Christmas premieres soon, right?
Yes, in July.
Yeah.
But yes, I collect Hallmark. I collect Waterford crystal ornaments. I collect different companies. There's Baccarat, Tiffany, Swarovski.
Yeah. We got
There's quite a bit of different
Well, you
crystal
see a lot of it if you look at our video from Christmas. If you go back to charlesandjohn.com, our very first video where we did a walkthrough of the house at Christmas time, you'll see a lot of those pieces, especially on the main tree, that first tree that you see in the video.
Yes.
You'll see a lot of those crystal pieces. But then the other trees, you see a lot more of the Hallmark stuff that you've been collecting for how long now?
Oh, I started in 2006.
Yeah, so it's been quite a while. It's
Yeah.
been quite a while, and we used to go to the conferences. That was, what was it called?
The conventions.
The convention that we used to go to the conventions, and so we'll have to show some of that too, because they got some very interesting pieces. And surprisingly, those pieces. This is what surprised me about Hallmark. You get these little plastic ornaments. You would never imagine that 5 years later, that $15 ornament is now worth $300.
Oh yes, I even have one that is a bird. And it was such a limited piece because it was from the convention. And last time I looked it up, that little bird originally was $12.95, and now it's $1,800.
Wow, that's quite a bit. AGO Modern said, obviously, I like modernist pieces.
Oh, speaking of, you were saying you were having problems finding stuff. I have noticed by researching different places, if you want to find crystal pieces and crystal pieces from the 80s, I would go to different thrift stores where you know that the city is an older city. So you'll have a mix of older homes, older mansions, stuff like that. Those seem to be the places where the family, their parents or grandparents may have died off, and they're donating those pieces to Goodwill, and they don't know what they are. And I've noticed those stores are the ones who usually have the nicer pieces that you actually may be looking for.
Yeah. And Jerry Robbins says, I collect Hallmark ornaments also. I don't save the boxes. Do you save the boxes?
I do save the boxes. The reason why I save the boxes is because you never know which one of those pieces are going to go up in value. And the condition of those boxes do matter, and if you have the boxes matter.
Yeah.
I have started to do where, you know, the top of the box, you open it, the bottom of the box opens the exact same way. You can actually break the box down flat, and you can put those boxes together and store them in a container. So you still have the boxes, but they're broken down and they don't take up so much room.
Right. No, we absolutely do. And he said, not many Hallmark stores left.
No, there's not very many left anymore.
Yeah, that's in fact, you have a friend that you actually have to buy for here in San Antonio, because where she's at, there is almost none around her, right?
Yes, the closest one to her is like about an hour away.
Yeah.
So I usually pick up hers at my store, and then next time I go visit my mom, I will bring them to her.
Yeah, yeah. So that's great. Well, this has been a lot of fun. I actually, for our first video, you know, we had a couple of technical bumps and scrapes, but other than that, this was a lot of fun. Glad you guys were able to join us. We'll have to do this again, and I think and we'll also make sure we'll get some more videos out. Like I said, we're still dealing with this adoption process, but it's a very slow process. So there's some weeks where nothing happens and we're able to put out content. And then there's other weeks where you've just got so much going on that we won't be able to get to it. But we do appreciate you being here with us and sticking with us, and we'll put out more content soon. So thank you so much, and everyone have a great Sunday, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.